Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Hey, welcome everyone again to another episode of Placata Nation. Here joined by the man himself, mi primo del Bronx, Cuss Rod. What's going on, my man?
Carlos, it's a pleasure, man. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to our Placata Nation podcast community. This is going to be a great year. 2023 is full of excitement. And again, good vibes to you, Carlos, and good vibes to all of our viewers and our listeners. So
Yeah, no doubt. Cause yeah. I would say, hey, health and joy, number one. That's the most important thing. Definitely. They say that if you have your health, you have your wealth. Yeah. And if we have our health, man, we're just gonna keep on plugging forward, right. Doing the best we can to become the best that we could possibly become in everything we do, right?
That's right. Gotta be grateful. Gotta be grateful and gotta be humble.
Gratitude.
Keyword today, humble. Remember that word, because that's gonna play a big part in this episode. So, indeed, Carlos, let's get cracking, man. I wanted this episode to focus on free agency wrap up. You know, we're coming to the end of free agency, even though free agency doesn't necessarily end because there is no end period until the season begins. But, you know, this is winding down because, you know, pitchers and catchers do report in about a few weeks maybe. And I know I just gave you flashbacks when I mentioned that. I saw it in your face.
Oh, I was full force right now. Around this time, man, I was ready to go. Yes.
Yeah, I know. You always do that. Was always prepared, always ready. I always said you could go to sleep and you'll wake up and you'll go 2 for 4 the next day. I always said that. I was like, Carlos is always ready. He's always locked in.
Well, you knew one thing for sure, that I was definitely going to put in the work to make sure that I was ready.
Oh,
that's for sure.
Oh, big facts.
You don't have to get ready if you stay ready, they say.
Big, yeah. I think we talked about that before in an earlier episode. Please, if you haven't, go back to the early episodes and watch. Carlos did say this.
Yes,
so
indeed.
Carlos, I want to talk about another Carlos, Carlos Correa. I don't know if you know this, but he agreed to 3 different deals with 3 different teams. But he finally landed on a team. He passed the physical, no more pending physical, and that's with the Minnesota Twins. Carlos, have you ever seen anything like this happen before?
Absolutely not. I mean, this was we call the Carlos Correa saga. Yeah, right. It's absolutely epic. Everything that went down. The Twins were always in the mix. They didn't really come close to the offers, for example, of the Giants. The Giants made an incredible offer at 350. Then here comes the failed physical, which is incredible. Think about this, Rod. Mm-hmm. You are one of the, doctors in the organization, and here you are tasked with the mission of making sure that this newly acquired asset, right, this very huge investment, it's actually going to pan out. This is your job as a doctor. You need to analyze whether or not longevity is feasible, if he's going to be able to play late into his 30s. So when the doctors see a red flag, immediately they're going to say, wait a second, this is of concern. It happened with the Giants. It obviously happened with the Mets. And this has been the theme going on with Carlos Correa. But I don't think we've sat down and looked at it through the eyes and the lenses of those doctors that sit in the room, and they have to make a decision on what to tell the front office and say, no, this is a concern. If you're going to invest that amount of money, we have to let you know that we are concerned about whether or not he's going to be able to play late into his 30s. That's tough, man. That's tough.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy?
It is,
Rod, is the fact that this injury really hasn't given him any trouble. It's to the left ankle, I believe it's the left ankle. And he really hasn't missed any time because of that injury. You would think there would be something else that we would be concerned about. Yet they've looked at it closely and they were concerned about the injury to his ankle being something that would prevent him from playing late into his 30s. So this is what it's all about. What is crazy is the up and down. Like, why are we announcing, yeah, it's a done deal, but then you come back and no, we're not definitely we're not going to go through it because the physical is not where we want it to be, or the prognostics are not really where they need to be. It's just so strange, kind of like jumping the gun a little too quick. How about we don't announce
Yeah.
signings until the player passes the physical? We
Until
don't
the
start
physical is pending.
celebrating.
So
You know,
I agree. I feel like that's something where I honestly feel like that's one of these things that has happened a lot, especially the past 20 years. You know, we have all these major news channels, and then with the advent of social media, we have reporters that want to be first. Oh, first reporting. Carlos
yes,
Correa signs with the Giants. First reporting. Aaron Judge signs with the Giants. First reporting, Carlos Correa signs with the Mets. You know, they want to be first. They want to be credited as
yes.
the first person saying it. But then we wait for the whole aspect of pending physical. And this was something that was very unusual, I think, for a lot of people involved, fans, and this is coming from a fan perspective of the game. You know, I know you're a player, so you look at it from another perspective, but I think as a fan, you know, you get excited. I know I have a bunch of friends that are Mets fans, and they were over the moon that they got Correa. You know, they were so excited. And even the
Yeah,
owner, as I call him, Uncle Steve, um, Steve Cohen, his
yeah,
excitement for signing Correa, because you know Steve Cohen is a fan. He's an owner, but he's also a fan of the team. So there was a lot of excitement. And then as the days went by, you never heard anything official. And then, you know, little things started coming out saying, oh, well, there's an issue with the medical. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, man, so this is a serious issue. Because, yeah, one team has an issue with the medical. Okay, fine. But now this is the second team having an issue, and it's the same issue. So I'm like, this is an issue. And you can tell that the Mets wanted to work something out. They tried to work something
mhm,
out with Correa and with Boris. And I'm assuming that whatever they came up contract wise was not comfortable enough for Boris to present to Correa to be like, yeah, you should sign this deal. So, you know, Boris being the incredibly intelligent businessman that he is, he went to the Twins. And like you said, Carlos, the Twins were never really out of it. They were interested in bringing him back, and they did. They got their guy, and now the Twins can move forward with building the rest of their team. And now the Mets are in a situation where they kind of have to pivot a little bit because they thought they filled in a spot at third base. Now, Carlos, we got to talk some options here for the Mets. What do they do? Do they call up somebody from the minors, or do they hold off for the offseason next year to focus on a big name? Now, you mentioned a few names I want to throw out at you. You mentioned Escobar, who's already on the team, who could
yeah,
fill in
yeah,
at third base. He could do it. That
yes.
right there is what you would call a stopgap. And the other person is somebody that you mentioned, and that's Mauricio. Can you tell us more about this kid?
Yes,
And is
yes.
he does can he do it?
Yeah, Mets fans. Wow. Like, I understand. Look, Carlos Correa definitely went through his own roller coaster ride, but the Mets fans going through a very difficult, emotional, up and down roller coaster. You know, you were thinking you're going to have on the left side of the infield a repeat of the WBC. You know, when we look at the team Puerto Rico, where Lindor was playing
Yeah,
short and Carlos Correa playing third, and everyone really got excited. I actually feel for the Mets fans because now they
yeah,
got that ripped away from them. But
yeah,
now that the dust settles, so let's talk about the possible scenarios here. You know, Escobar certainly a good ball player, solid ball player, a veteran. Could definitely get the job done there. He's been doing so. And look, the Mets won 101 games last season. There've been some players that are gone. You know, we're talking about the Grom. He's no longer part of the ball club, but hey, Verlander comes in. So, you know, many may say, hey, is this rotation perhaps even better
I
than
think it
before?
is.
Well, it could be. It
I
really
believe
could be. So you're thinking about 101
so.
games. Look, this team is looks definitely capable of repeating another 100 win season. They're definitely capable. But now Escobar could definitely play third base. But I want one player called Ronnie Mauricio, a true prospect for the Mets, actually won the MVP in the Dominican Winter League. And I've personally seen him play. And man, it's a joy to watch. This kid has got all the tools necessary to be an absolute star. And I had a conversation
Yes.
with him, Rod, because I was down there in Dominican Republic. Had a conversation with him because when he was hearing the rumblings about Carlos Correa, I could sense that he was getting a little worried because he's like, what are they going to do to me? They're going to
Yeah.
trade me now? Like, where am I going to play? Like, there's no room anymore. And I told him, like, no, there is room. Like, you keep on playing because that team is better with you on it. Even if Carlos Correa plays third, man, you can play second, and Mauricio
Yeah.
plays short. But Lindor is there, but you can play second base. What they need is you as part of that ball club. And I was kind of giving him a pep talk or just trying to encourage the young kid. Well, Correa is not going to be part of the Mets. And now Ronnie Mauricio is one of those prospects that is well on his way to gaining and earning an opportunity on that starting roster. Don't sleep on Ronnie Mauricio
No.
making a huge splash and becoming a Rookie of the Year candidate. I said it here now. We'll see what happens, but I'm excited.
Remember where you
about
heard that
Ronnie
first.
Mauricio.
Remember where you
Yes.
heard that first. Remember where you heard that first. Wow, Ronnie
All he needs is that
Mauricio,
opportunity.
and he and shout out. He plays for yours and my Tigres del Licey. So
Yes,
yes, sir.
Liceísta.
Congrats on the MVP, my man. Woo!
Nada
So
personal.
I know a few people that are gonna hear this and they're gonna be like, they're gonna give me some looks.
It's okay. Getting ready to go to the finals, by the way. Lo liceísta ahí, hey, everybody's pumped up, trying to win that lo aguilucho. Hey, I got much respect for Las Águilas, but a very difficult situation right now for them. We're gonna have to wait until next October.
Yeah, here I got something for them. Here, hold this L real quick. Hold that. That's for you. Take that L and go to your corner. It's okay.
Oh my
so
God.
moving on.
See, I didn't go there. You did.
Moving on. Now, just so we can wrap up with the Mets. A little rumor that we've heard. I don't know if you've heard different. Little rumor I'm hearing is that one Manny Machado is possibly opting out of his contract after next season, and that's a name that a lot of people saying could be linked to the Mets for a lot of reasons. He's always wanted to play in New York, especially he wanted to play with the Yankees originally, but also who's the manager of the Mets? Buck Showalter, who was Manny Machado's manager with the Orioles. So there's a connection there, Carlos. Could you see Manny Machado possibly coming here next offseason as a piece for third base for them? If, let's say, your prediction of Ronnie Mauricio and Escobar and even the other minor league kid they have, Batty, doesn't work out.
Yeah, well, think about it. No, I mean, they could still work out, and they'll make room for Ronnie Mauricio. I know that Escobar, this is his last season with the Mets, so it would be okay. He leaves now. There's a vacancy there at third base. Here comes Manny Machado, and Manny would absolutely be such a huge fit here in New York. I'm actually currently in New York, so this is. This is definitely a possibility, but this is the problem, Rod. Do you understand that there's going to be 29 other teams as well that could possibly,
bidding,
theoretically bid for Manny Machado? Not all of them are going to need a third baseman, but there's going to be a lot of other teams going after him as well for his services. So we have a situation there that we cannot guarantee that the Mets are going to land him. Are the Mets going to come on strong? Right. Absolutely, especially if Manny has another monster season like he did last year.
MVP type season, because I think Manny should have got more MVP votes than he actually did. I thought he was a monster last year, all season, and I agree with you, man. I mean, if Manny has a big year, he'll have a lot of suitors, and I remember how I said it a few episodes back. The Mets are also going to be in on Ohtani. Ohtani is going to be a big target, so they're going to be in on a lot of guys. But like you said, they are competing with a bunch of ball clubs for Machado. But one ball club they are not going to be competing with, and we'll segue, is the Red Sox, because hallelujah, the Red Sox signed one of their guys. They signed someone homegrown who's been a stud for them since he's entered the league, and that's one Rafael Devers signed a massive deal. First of all, congratulations to you, Rafael. Well
Yes,
deserved, well
Carita.
earned. I mean, I'm a massive Red Sox hater because I'm a Yankee fan, but I gotta respect the hell out of the kid. The kid is a stud. He kills us and he kills most of the league because he's a stud. He's really good. He's
Oh
earned
yeah,
that contract. Carlos, give me your thoughts on Devers signing this long-term deal, man.
man. First of all, let's talk about him as a player. He is just truly impressive. I love his swing. I love the angles he creates. I mean, he has a very
Yeah,
particular stance, and he strides actually towards second base. By the way, which a lot of people would say he steps into the bucket. That's what the way we call it. When you step into the bucket, you're kind of like stepping out. But
right.
and that's usually viewed as, no, that's not the way you do it. But he creates these angles that allow him to let the ball travel deep into the zone. And I'm getting a little technical here, but this is why he's so good at hitting balls off the monster, the green monster, going the other way. Fenway
Yeah,
Park is perfect for Devers. But not only that, you pitch him inside, he's clear in the inner part of the plate to get his swing in. So just a huge signing for the Red Sox. Definitely going to be a factor going forward. And the worst thing is this: the best thing to think about it, I should say, is they were able to get their guy. Now, the bad news about it is that in retrospect, you're like, man, they should have signed him 3 years ago. And maybe
yeah.
they give him, they don't spend as much. But let's not go there. The fact is that he is coming back to the Red Sox, and Red Sox fans could not be happier. All right, Primo. Thank you.
You
Thank you so
already know,
much
brother.
for another wonderful time. Thank
Yes.
you for all the listeners. And until next time, peace.
Placata.
That's right.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.